Hey everybody, I'm Caleb,
And I'm Zach.
and this is our first installment of Questions of the Universe.
Today we'll be talking about what it means or what it looks like for people that are scared to diverge from the norm. So the first question is, why do you think people are scared to diverge from the norm?
I think throughout history, before technology, we were just open to all kinds of new possibilities. Before the Industrial Revolution, before all of that happened, everybody saw the world and saw how they could make it better in their own minds. They saw how they could improve it. They saw how they could enhance their life to a point where nobody else's could. And I think after technology became so prevalent in everybody's lives, we started to normalize the everyday societal standards that are placed on us. And because of that, we became complacent with those standards. And we saw those standards as our goals instead of our dreams as our goals. We modified our dreams to meet the standards instead of our standards to meet the dreams.
Right, so just a lot of people kind of almost bumping their own visions of what they would have otherwise wanted their lives to look like to this sort of comparison factor of, you know, what am I to him, what am I to her, what is she to me, and everybody, it's all relative regarding, okay, at least I'm not as bad as, at least I'm not, you know, as shitty as, so it kind of repeats like this perpetual nature of, well, as long as I'm not the lowest of the low, then there's no reason for me to strive for more in life. I hate that. Like that really, it's just I don't know why
Stupid.
people do that. I know, like, and I'm not saying that I'm exempt from it because I know that that's not the case. Like, I definitely do that, you know, daily even. But it doesn't mean that it's not something that, like, I want to work on that I don't want to work on myself. It's definitely something that I do and want to and try to every day. I just think that it's no way to live your life always trying to live into this sense of mediocrity where you see yourself, see your life, see what's to come or what, you know, you think is to come, and you're just basing it off of what's worse, not how it could be better. And your main focus is to not be last when your real focus should be to be first.
Everybody has a plan B.
Right.
Everybody instills a plan B because they're so terrified of what if plan A doesn't happen. You know, I need something to fall back on. I need something that'll make sure that I'm not last in the world. You know, they're so scared of their dreams not working out that they never actually shoot for them. They never actually attempt to achieve them. They always have a plan B, and the very nature of having a plan B insists that you can't possibly give complete devotion and effort to plan A.
Right, because you're split.
Yeah, because something's in the back of your mind.
Of course.
You know, you always have something to fall back on if it doesn't work out. And because of that, we've just normalized the plan B. And so at a young age, kids go to school and, you know, teachers ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they expect them to give a stereotypical societal answer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a firefighter. I want to do this. I want to do that. You know, and if you say something crazy or out of the ordinary to those teachers, they're going to give you a look. And in that look just shows that you'll never make it. Like, that look shows you, oh, you know what, your dreams aren't valid. Your dreams can't be reached. And it's because they haven't reached those dreams. So they tell you that
Yeah,
you
it's
can't
kind of like
reach
that
those
stifled
dreams.
laugh.
Yeah.
You know, that's like has a sense of admiration, but
Yeah.
really it's a sense of
It's like, oh,
you're
you're
ignorant.
so innocent.
Exactly.
You don't
exactly.
know what the what's in the world.
Exactly.
So from a young age, we're just shut down, and we're just completely isolated from those dreams because they're seen as abnormal. you know? And then we go and we get that education, and then we go to a higher education, or we join the workforce. And we're always pursuing, you know, what we have grown up to view as a good life, which for most people isn't that top 1% of life. We grow up and we see our parents going to work, and if they're doing well for themselves, we think to ourselves, oh, you know what, I'd be content doing this if I had a family, if I went to a job that I enjoyed, if I brought home enough money to where I could cover all my expenses. But that's just, it's so normalized mediocrity that we never actually grow up and shoot for the things that we dreamed of when we were 4 years old.
Right. I also think, like, and this, none of this is to say that any sort of like stereotypical dream that you may have, like, you know, being a doctor, being a firefighter, being, you know, a lawyer, being a councilman, any idea you could come up with, etc., is anything bad or to be like looked down upon, because that's not the case. It's just that you have to question yourself if that's your dream or if it's something that you're doing in the meantime. And it's like, how much of your life is comprised of what you're doing in the meantime, right? Are you working towards something with your full, you know, everything that you are and everything that you could be, moving in that direction? You know, we were talking about earlier how if you have point A and you have point B, and as long as you're putting in effort to get from this spot to this spot, and even if you only move 2 inches, and this is a span of miles, at least it's a direct direction from here to here. You're not going up, you're not going left, you're not going down, you're not doing other things to fill your life in the meantime so you can eventually get to this point, because you're never going to get to this point as long as you're not spending,
if you're going the wrong way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're spending time doing other things and not moving specifically for this actual thing that is your ultimate goal, then you're not going to be going in the direction to get to your ultimate goal.
You can't get from A to B if you're constantly moving towards C.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form.
Not at all.
And so I think that because of that very reason, because we place those limitations on ourselves, and because we have backup plans, and because we only believe that the things that we see and encounter and the things that are prevalent to the lives of the people around us are the only things that can be accessible in our lives. And because we think that's all that's accessible, we're never going to strive for what's seen as impossible or inaccessible.
Exactly. Ultimately, like, everybody's just scared, and that's not unique.
And
like,
it's okay to be scared.
Right. But you have to, like, not think of that or recognize it as a roadblock just because you're fearful, just because
it shouldn't paralyze
you feel
you.
Insignificant. Right. Doesn't mean you actually are, or doesn't mean you don't have the aptitude. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. It just means that at this point in time, you're not where you're eventually going to be.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're not eventually going to be there. It just means you're not there yet.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to think that because you're not there yet, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get there. And I just wish that that wasn't the mentality that most people would share every day. It's sad to see that, you know, even in myself, like, the things that I specifically choose to not do, or maybe even subconsciously, you know, choose to not do, because I know that there's always going to be a chance and an opportunity that it's not going to come to fruition. And that's because there is a real chance or opportunity for it to not come to fruition, but that's only because I'm not acting on it to do so.
You're
in the
putting
first
those
place.
restrictions on yourself because
Correct.
of your fears. Your fears aren't paralyzed. Your fears are paralyzing you rather than motivating you.
Exactly.
And I think that's the difference between the vast majority of society and the top 1% of the world.
Yeah.
Is that the top 1% of the world, they didn't have backup plans. They saw their dreams and they thought to themselves, either that's happening or nothing's happening. I'm either going to get here or I'm not going to get anywhere. And if this dream doesn't happen, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because they didn't have a backup plan. So that forced them to put all of their effort, all of their mental capacity, everything they had into that dream, and that's why it's a reality.
Right.
And because so many people are way too scared to do that, and so many people are afraid of failure, and afraid of being looked upon by the rest of society as an outcast or a weirdo, that they don't completely pursue their dreams 100 miles an hour, full speed, all the time. Because they're constantly afraid of what if it doesn't happen? Or what if it does happen and people look at me weird?
Right.
Or what if I lose people along the way?
Right. For all the ones that made it, there was no fail-safe, there was no fallback. And what's funny is, like, all of them were weirdos till they weren't anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they were all fucking weird till they weren't
So
anymore.
fucking weird.
Yeah, they were all, you know, the outcasts till they weren't. They were the outliers till they weren't. And then once they made it, I guess, they ceased to be odd and they became something to be, like,
'Cause
awestruck
How are
at.
you going to tell somebody that they're odd when they are that top 1%?
Exactly.
Because at that point, they're no longer odd. Go home. You're home right now watching this. Go look up the top 1% of people in the world. The top 1% richest people in the world. They are the weirdest looking human beings
Yeah.
and the strangest people
Yeah.
of all time. But they're not.
Yeah, they're not at the same time.
They were called crazy, but they weren't, you know?
Yeah, you're
They were
always,
just-
always crazy till you make it happen, and then you're a genius. You know, everybody's stupid, everybody's reckless till all of a sudden they aren't anymore, and the only reason that they aren't anymore, seen by everybody, is because it actually happened. Whatever it is that was their vision, whatever it is that was their dream, it came into reality. So then, therefore, they're not crazy anymore. Therefore, they're not. No, don't eat the wasp.
Oh, come on, Frankie. We also have a dog with us.
Yeah.
Franklin.
He just tried to
He's
bite
trying
a
to eat
wasp.
wasps.
Yeah.
Who is I about? No, dude, but
No, hey. Come here.
chill.
Come here. Good boy. Come on.
I
Come over here.
think Frankie just got a time up.
Yeah. They're always so different from everybody else. Before whatever it is that they imagined to be their dream, once it finally actually happens in the end, they're different in the sense that they're different from everybody else, but they're not weird anymore. They're accepted.
You have to be crazy before you can be a genius.
Right.
The world has to see you as crazy before you can ever become a genius.
Exactly.
Because there's no such thing as a sane genius. And we all have those ideas, man. I mean, we all grew up and, you know, what do you want to do when you grow older? Oh, I want to go to the moon. Oh, I want to play professional baseball. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. And then somewhere along the line, you let somebody convince you that you couldn't. And you let people around you convince you that your dream had such an improbability of occurring that it wasn't worth pursuing at all.
But who are they to tell you that when they themselves have zero experience? Like all they know is what they think they know, but what they know is actually nothing because they aren't even in the same realm as the people that actually are completing those things and doing those things every day.
Exactly.
Who are they to tell you that you are inept, that you lack the aptitude to do what it is that you believe or that you want to do?
It's like we were talking about. The restrictions that are placed on my life are not the restrictions that are placed on your life.
Exactly.
My life is not restricted to the same restrictions that you place on yourself.
Right.
And if you don't have any restrictions in your mind about your dreams, then there is nothing that stops you from achieving greatness. And it's when you place those restrictions is when you hit mediocrity.
Yeah, don't let your life be subject to someone else's insecurities because that's only going to ruin and shortchange the opportunities that you're given every day.
And don't think that we're saying that, you know, if you dream something and you work hard at it every day, it's going to just instantly come true and you're going to be a genius or seen as the top 1%.
That's not the case.
Because everything in life that's amazing can also be terrible. You know? In order to achieve something that amazing, you have to go through a certain amount of shit.
Right. You're
Before
always
you
going to
can
walk
get
that
there.
valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life isn't just, you know, fucking raindrops and butterflies and everything's a hunky-dory.
Yeah.
You know, life is shitty. And if you want to do something that nobody's done before, and if you want to do something that goes against societal norms, you are going to face more shit than the people who aren't. And that's just the fact of it.
And that's where the big appeal comes in. The reason why you have this mass majority of people all traveling in one direction, you know, just major fucking
Because they don't want to deal with that.
It's because it's safe.
Yeah.
That's why they're like, yeah, they're scared, and that's why they're choosing the safer options, because nobody wants to deal on the, like, on a surface level with all of the strife that other people that are going against that grain are putting up with.
Exactly.
Ultimately, it results in their greater contentment, their more fulfilled happiness than the people that are sacrificing their long-term happiness for short-term fulfillment because it's the safer decision to make in the end. And then over time, they convince themselves of this lie. And it's not a total lie, which is the worst part. That's what really bugs me. It's not actually a full 100% lie. It's a partial one. It's one where you look at your life and you're like, yeah, I am content with this. Like, yeah, it is great. I have a lot of things to be thankful for. Yeah, you know, I'm getting paid well, my life looks good, my house is great, my family's great. All these things are good, undoubtedly good. But if you were to look back on it and see what it is that you wanted before all this time got away from you, all you have to think for yourself is like, what could have been? And there's no reason to convince yourself of this partial lie over time that what you have is everything you could have wanted, because it's not.
And it's because when you're in that scenario and when you've started your career and you've built that career, and then you're looking at your life and you're looking at your friends and your peers and the people around you, you then start to compare your life to their life.
Yeah.
And that's the basis for which you decide your own happiness.
Right, that's
so you
society's
look at the
impositions.
people around you and you think to yourself, you know what, my life is pretty good. I'm pretty fortunate. You might have a family, you might have a great career, and you look at the people around you and you think, you know, in this standard, I am happy and I should be happy. But in the back of your mind, you know that you're not. Because the fact of the matter is, you have to ask yourself that question: would your 8-year-old self be proud of who you are now?
Right.
Because when you were 8 years old, you did not have societal restrictions on your life. You dreamed and you thought that dragons were real, and you thought that anything in the world was possible, and you believed in magic. And it's those standards that you should look on your life. Those nothing is impossible, I can do anything I set my mind to standards.
Right, you shouldn't be comparing yourself laterally and below you. If you compare yourself laterally and below you, yeah, you're always going to be satisfied because you're comparing yourself to the person that you think has less than you.
Yeah, it's like, obviously you're going to feel good about yourself. Like, you're doing better than the people that are doing worse than you. Congratulations, dude. But it's like, are you doing better than you dreamed that you could do?
Right, and you don't want to invalidate yourself. You don't want to look back and be like, all my life's work is for a waste, because it is your life's work, considering like you spend these 30 years, you know, developing your career and whatever, you know, career it is that you want, and you know, the family that you have or don't have, whatever like your life decisions are, and whatever choices you make, whatever makes you content. You don't want to look back and invalidate that and be like, oh, all that's wrong, and I should have had this, and I wanted this, because that would make you feel bad, and no one wants to feel bad. But like, the fact of the matter it is, yeah, you probably do feel bad for a very good reason, and that's because that's not what you wanted all along, and you know better. You just don't want to say that to yourself because it's going to make you feel like shit.
And we're not talking to the people who are truly content in their life. We're not talking to the teachers who, as a child, you know, looked at their teachers and they were like, this teacher made an impact on me, I can make an even bigger impact on the generations behind me. We're not talking about, you know, doctors who go to their work every day and are just blown away by the fact that they have the opportunity to save somebody's life or to impact somebody's life. We're not talking about people who are truly content and who dreamed of something and are doing it, even if it does fall in the societal norm.
Because they were chasing their dream. That was their passion.
Their dream. We are talking to the people who had a completely different dream, or who might have a dream right now, and you believe that you can't chase it because you have to do this. You know, you have to go get that summer internship, and you have to go get that 9-to-5 job to keep yourself afloat, and then eventually you'll build a career, and then maybe you'll get a family, and then maybe when you're 60 years old you'll get to retire and finally appreciate all that you've worked for.
Right, and get to do
Because-
everything that you would have wanted to do when you weren't 60 years old.
Yeah, we're 20 right now. I want to do that stuff right now.
Right the second, yeah.
Right? I have the ability, the mental capacity. I am physically apt to do everything that I want in the world right now. I don't want to be 60 years old trying to travel the world and do everything I dreamed when I'm 20. I'm freaking 60. I'm old, dude.
Yeah.
And if you're 60 watching this, like, that's not that old. But you know what I mean. Like, that's not the future I envision for myself. And it's not the future that you should envision for yourself either. If anybody in your life or around your life, when you come to them with your dream and you are serious about it, and it is something that you truly love and you truly want to do, if anybody in your life doubts those dreams or puts those dreams down and tells you that they're impossible, then maybe you need to take a second look at those people. Because the true friends and the people who truly have your back will tell you that nothing is impossible if you really devote yourself to it, and that societal norms don't apply to you.
And when you really, and like, taking into context, really wanting something, really, the word devotion and what that means, what it means and what it looks like in your daily life to truly devote your time, your soul, everything that you are to something. Your friends will recognize that, like your peers, your family, your loved ones, your
And if they
significant
don't,
other.
fuck
They
them.
will recognize that. If you're faking it, they'll recognize that too,
Yeah.
right? Like people aren't, no one's just gonna put up with bullshit all day long. Like they're gonna see if you're really trying or if you're partially trying or if you're not trying at all. It's really easy to recognize when you're not trying at all, but
Exactly.
you're just saying that you're gonna do something one day. You're saying you want something.
And it's equally as easy to recognize when you're truly devoted to something.
Exactly.
Because if you're truly devoted to your passion and your dreams, then nobody who truly cares about you is going to put them down, because they see that that is what you are striving for, and they see that in your mind it is possible. And if your mind is it's possible, then in their mind it'll be possible too.
Yeah. And I know that it's said a lot, and I'm sure that many of you have heard this, many times over the years, that it's going to be hard and, like, shit's going to suck, doing all this. But don't forget, if you're doing something that you enjoy, it's not really going to be that bad in the end.
Yeah.
You're doing something you really like, and the majority of your time will be spent, surprisingly enough, doing what it is that you like.
Exactly.
So the only hardships that you'll really face are the roadblocks that would prevent you from moving forward and developing it further, whatever it is that you like doing. So it's kind of like the next level type deal. Like, let's say you really like developing scripts or screenplay writing. You can do that all day long in a dark room, right? You can write incredible scripts, but the hard part is transitioning that to get, I don't really know the process, but somebody who's important to recognize it, right? That's the difficult part. It's not necessarily you crafting what it is that you already love and know that you love. It's moving forward with taking what it is that you like and putting it into this real world application so that other people, depending on what it is that you like to do, can see what it is that you're doing, or they can see the fruition of your love, of your passion, of your devotion, of your life's work.
And the other thing that you have to recognize is that everything in life that's worth achieving and that's worth having is going to be hard. There's going to be roadblocks in everything that is great in your life, whether it's relationships, whether it's careers, whether it's starting your own business, accomplishing your dreams, anything. Anything's going to be hard if it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's
gotta
always that
think-
balance.
You got to think, there are going to be so many more amazing times in accomplishing what you love and in having that dream than there are going to be shitty times when you're looking back at it. Like, aren't you willing to put up with the shit if it means that you literally never have to work a day in your life because you are truly doing what you love every single day?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it worth, the heartache and, whatever life throws at you?
I know it's easy to say, don't chase the money, right? Especially if you're not actually suffering from that. You know, when you are in those like hard times, lacking money, it really seems like everything that you should go after and strive for. But when you chase the money, Caleb was telling me earlier that your dreams aren't going to follow that. If you chase the money, your dreams aren't going to follow the money. But if you chase your dreams, or if you go after whatever it is that you like to do,
The
like,
money will follow.
the money will follow that. It doesn't. They're not. They don't work the same way. It's not, you know, directly proportional. You chase money, you get what it is that you love to do regarding your happiness and contentment. But if you chase what makes you content and what you love, then naturally money will follow, because you'll be good enough at whatever it is that you like doing that eventually an income is going to coincide with the proficiency of your craft.
And also with pursuing that craft, you know, a certain level of skill, and people are going to recognize that passion in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that will bring on its own monetary compensation for your goals. Whereas if you're just chasing money, you are going to be constantly pursuing that level of money, and the amount of money that you are going to receive by solely pursuing money rather than pursuing your dreams is substantially less, because you will be looking for the quickest, easiest ways to achieve your goal, which is money, which there are several ways to do, and giving up on that dream, letting that sit and rest so that you can get the money to get your dream. But it's almost impossible to go down that road and then to pick this back up. Whereas if you were to pursue your dream the whole time, eventually, you know, who knows when, but the monetary compensation
Yeah.
will follow.
And I know some of you smart asses out there are probably thinking like, well, what if my dream is chasing money? It still works the exact same way. If your dream is chasing money, money's gonna follow, right? Like it's not gonna, you know, be separate from this one like exempt case.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the exact same thing. If that's your real dream, you are without a doubt going to find many, many ways to achieve making money.
There are
if that's
so
all
smart
that you,
asses
yeah,
that were thinking
yeah,
that.
right. I know that like
There were so people
yeah,
thinking
that if money is what you want, if money is what you desire, it's gonna be there in your life no matter what happens. If that's all that you focus on, it's going to exist, it's going to be there, it's going to be a part of your life, it's going to fulfill your life.
So it's not an exception.
Yeah.
Because if
Moral of the story, it's not an exception.
Yeah, if your dream's money, then
The equation's still the same.
Yeah, you're gonna get it. That's also not a good dream to have. Like, I think you can put a little bit more of your mental capacity to finding a better dream than just having a boatload of money.
Yeah.
However, I think we would all appreciate a boatload of money. So, if any rich viewers are watching this and have a boatload of money, it's just sitting around, you know.
We would not mind.
We are two broke college students who could use a boat full of money.
Exactly.
How dope would that be if somebody just dropped off a boat full of money?
That'd be pretty.
How much
cool.
money do you think would be in the boat? How big is the
I don't
boat?
know. It depends. Like canoe, skiff, you know, like Mastercraft speedboat.
Is the boat proportional to the money, or is the money proportional to the boat?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? And when we're talking about that, are we talking about the size of the stacks of money in the boat that are proportional to the size of the boat itself, or are we talking about the monetary value of the boat compared to the monetary value of the money in the boat?
I don't know.
That just brought us on a completely different tangent.
I was thinking kind of like one of those paper boats just full of pennies.
I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, that's fine too.
That's fine. Everybody's got to do laundry, right?
Yeah. The last question I wanted to focus on is, why does it matter if you know better or not? I mean, like, what's the point? Just because you now have an understanding, like, oh, I listened to, you know, these two guys tell me that pursuing what it is that you love is the ultimate goal, and that's better than, you know, just succumbing to mediocrity, and, you know, don't be scared, and even if you are scared, that's okay, but just, you know, use that fear as motivation as opposed to a roadblock in your life. Why is it that any of this information is crucial, or why does it even matter in the first place?
Why are we
Does
even
it
talking about
does
it?
it even matter in the first place? And if I can give my own personal opinion, which I've been doing this entire video,
Yeah. This is our YouTube channel, so
is that it does matter. I think ultimately knowing better is always better than not knowing at all.
ignorance
Why?
is
Because
not bliss.
we don't want to perpetuate ignorance. People do that every day. You see it every day on the streets, at school, at work, wherever it is that you go, wherever it is that you experience and live into your life, you see people all the time experiencing the full consequences of ignorance. And in my opinion, I don't think it's ever good. I don't think it really ever benefits you or the people that you're surrounded by. I don't think that it's a positive or aspect that should be a part of your life. It's definitely not good vibes in any way, shape, or form.
No good vibes.
So stand up against that and don't choose to perpetuate ignorance. Choose to live life knowing better, having a better understanding of what it means to better yourself. Because why not make the one person you have to deal with for the rest of your life a better version, so that it's not as irritating dealing with them every single second of the day.
So true. Why on earth would you choose to lack knowledge in something out of fear is beyond me.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you should take the short years that we are on this earth, and I know it seems like forever. I know when you're in hard times and you're struggling,
Yeah.
it feels like life just drags on. And I know sometimes it just, you have no idea what's going on, and we don't either. I mean, we're sitting here answering all these questions, but we don't know the first thing about life. We don't, nobody does. But why would you choose to live in a way that's not absolutely exceptional? Why would you choose to limit your perceptions on what you can accomplish based on what other people have accomplished and based on what people around you can accomplish? Their standards have nothing to do with your standards.
Nothing at all.
Well, this has been our first installation of Questions of the Universe. I hope you enjoyed it. Part 2 is coming up soon. And subscribe to the channel.
Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.